It's Tuesday, December 21st, 2021. A few things to talk about today. I want to get right into this. Somebody sent me a message last night, and they sent me, they forwarded me a copy of an email. And this is in regards to another bank closure. This coming from Galena Bank of America. This is in Galena, Illinois. I looked this up today. The bank is temporarily closed, but it says here, according to this copy of this email that they sent me yesterday, 1:30 p.m., people were standing outside of the Galena Bank of America trying to figure out why the doors were locked. And they said that there, according to this email, there was no note on the door. So this person went to another branch in the area, and the people at that branch said that this bank in Galena will be closed until mid-January. No reason why, other than everybody left. This is what according to this email, the people in the other branch bank of Bank of America said that everybody in this particular bank, the bank that was closed, that the employees just left. That was the reasoning they gave for the closure. Now, I'm reading this, and it's concerning because this happened to me a week and a half ago. A friend of mine yesterday, a very good friend of mine, went to his bank yesterday, and he said it was closed. And people are writing me literally daily about ATMs and bank closures. It continues to persist. But this bank is not going to open until mid-January. There's no reasoning. Apparently everybody just left. No note on the door. The doors are just locked. And that's it. That's all you get. What if you needed to get your safety deposit box yesterday? What if you needed something out of that safety deposit box? Well, you call an 800 number and you make an appointment. Now, I don't know if somebody comes down a week from today, 2 weeks from today. Hopefully somebody shows up. But what do you do in the meantime? If you have an emergency and you need to get documents, you need to get cash in that box, you need to get some jewelry, you need to get your gold or silver coins. What do you do if your bank door is closed and now you're dependent on somebody from that bank coming down to open up your safety deposit box? And what if somebody just doesn't show up? I mean, just think about how this can get out of control very, very fast. Now, hopefully everything will be fine. If you call your 800 number, you'll be able to access your safety deposit box, hopefully very, very quickly. But I don't know about you, but this would not give me a very good feeling. Just when I went to my bank a week and a half ago and the doors were locked, I had to go to the drive-through. One person in the entire bank working there, one person, does not give me a good feeling. But this bank is going to be closed for nearly a month. And that is absolutely insane. It's ridiculous, actually, and there's no reasoning. So think about that. And again, we just go back to what we said many, many times before. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. How safe are your assets in that bank? How safe is the cash that you put in those accounts, that savings account or that checking account? How safe is it really? And if things really get out of control, will your bank be open when you need to get to that cash, when you need to get to that safety deposit box? And look, we've heard countless stories about people's safety deposit boxes missing, items missing, safety deposit box accounts closing, and then they throw it in the mail and send you your belongings and your assets through the mail, half of it missing. I mean, you can Google this stuff. It's nothing new. But this is why I'm so adamant about all of you being your own central banks, not being dependent on the system or a bank in a time of need. They are going to look out for their best interests, not yours. So I wanted to just bring that up. I want to thank the person for sending me that email last night. And I don't know if this was a friend of theirs or an acquaintance, or if it might even been the actual person, but whoever it was, I want to thank you. But this does not give me a very comfortable feeling seeing another story of this Very, very questionable about what is happening with all these closures. Look, we can blame it on this, that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me why these banks are closing, because they're closing. And that's the only thing that matters, because it's telling me that they may not be there. Those doors may not be open when I need them to be for whatever reason. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be responsible for you. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. This is the time more than ever to be your own central bank. And I'm not telling everybody to pull all their money out of the bank, but be cautious. I have enough in there to pay the bills. I have it in multiple banks. I don't put all my eggs in one basket, and I think that we have to be diversified in numerous ways now, ladies and gentlemen. Dow jumps 560 points today as market rebounds from triggered health crisis 3-day slide. So this is interesting because over the past few days, this new health crisis apparently had a huge effect on these markets. But for some reason today, the markets aren't worried about anything. And I think that we really have to wonder what is going on in these markets yet again. 1 minute, it's a health crisis. That's why they're falling. But the next minute, they just surge, go up 560 points. Dow Jones up 560 points today. Based on what? More fraud everywhere? You tell me. I don't know. What's the reason that U.S. stocks traded higher today for no apparent reason? What's the reason that the market exploded today? Please comment down below. I guess everything is fine. The health crisis now is resolved. We shouldn't be worried about that. The economy's booming, I guess. Everybody's going back to work. We don't have to worry about the 11 plus million jobs out there, available jobs. We don't have to worry about inflation, the multiple bubbles, the price of gasoline, nothing. There's no problem. So the market just surging today. Or is this the Fed buying calls and puts? Comment down below. Is the Fed buying up everything? Do we really know? Yes, these things are supposedly illegal, but nothing is illegal now. They seem to do whatever they want to do. I see this today, and to me, it's very, very concerning. And a lot of people are dancing around and they're euphoric. But to me, this is just another reminder, reinforcing with you and I just how rigged these markets are. And that these central banks are just literally buying everything and keeping everything propped up. Remember this, the higher that these markets go, ladies and gentlemen, the further the fall is going to be. And when things begin to fall, they're going to fall at such an accelerating rate. You know, it takes a while for this thing to go all the way up, but it's going to come down so much faster. And it is going to do so much devastation to a majority of the population, to the economy. There's nobody that's going to be immune when this thing comes tumbling down. And it's going to come down extremely hard, extremely fast. And when I read articles like this, also on CNBC, the administration considers extending payment pause for student loan borrowers. Now look, why are we extending these loans if there are over 11 million jobs available, if the economy is recovering, if the consumer is strong? We keep hearing daily about how wonderful everything is, but why are we at 0% interest rates? Why is the Fed continuing to buy things? Why is the administration considering extending payment pause for student loan borrowers if everything is so good? The pause is currently scheduled to expire next month. But wait a minute. Aren't there over 11 million jobs out there? Can't these people who took these loans go and get a job? Maybe it's not your career choice. Maybe it's not the job that you want, but you have debt. You need to pay it back. So why not go get a job and pay back the money that you borrowed? 42 million Americans have student loan debt. Outstanding loan debt has surpassed $1.7 trillion. 90% of borrowers are not financially secure enough to resume paying their obligations, their payments. Why? If there's all these jobs, minimum wage is going up. You can go flip burgers for 15, 18, even $20+ out here at In-N-Out. And yet this is all going to be put on hold. So what are people doing with all this free time while they're not paying the debt that they borrowed? What are they doing? What are people doing right now if they're not working? So I guess they can just put a pause on everything. You don't have to make your payments on your debt. You just sit at home and hope that it goes away, hope that more stimulus shows up. And with all the stimulus that people got, did they not take any of this money and pay down their debt? I think what they did is they took a lot of it and they gambled it into cryptos. They gambled it into the stock market through the Robinhood accounts. They went out to eat. They bought new cars, but they didn't pay rent. They didn't pay their student loan payments down. So, I mean, why is this being allowed to continue? California, this is unbelievable. This article coming from The Hedge. California rewards deadbeats once again with $80,000 cash giveaway to delinquent homeowners. I guess we are now living in a time where you don't have to pay your debt back. I wish that people would just give me free stuff and I wouldn't have to pay back anything. It says here in the article, California homeowners who are behind on their mortgage for whatever reason are about to receive up to $80,000 per household in the form of a direct payment to mortgage services. The $1 billion program funded by taxpayers right here in California, as opposed to making homeowners tap into the massive equity gained in their homes while they weren't making payments, was approved by the U.S. Department of Treasury. Again, let me repeat this. The $1 billion program funded by taxpayers, as opposed to making homeowners tap into all this massive equity. We've had this big housing boom, this massive bubble. But no, you don't tap into the equity. You get a free ride. You get to get pass go for free. So get this. The $1 billion will apply to as many as 40,000 struggling homeowners right here in the state of California. This according to a statement from the governor's office. So when will they just start sending money to people who say they can't make their credit card payments? When will they just start making people's auto payments? Oh, hey, we know that you have 3 years, 6 years of auto payments. We're just going to start sending direct deposit to anybody who has an auto payment. Anybody who has a credit card payment, anybody who just says for whatever reason, hey, this crisis, that crisis, we couldn't make our payments, so you'll be eligible for the system to step in and just pay for everything. But that money has to come from somewhere. It's coming from the taxpayers. So the taxpayers who are employed, working, paying their bills, paying their taxes, may have to pay for people who don't want to go to work because it's not the job that they want, or they'd rather just sit at home and play video games. And these people who have student loan debt, not all, okay? Look, there are exceptions, but there are a lot of people who could be out working right now, getting off the couch and taking a job that may not be a career choice, but they could go out and do something to pay their own bills. But instead, they're going to be reliant on the other half who's going to work, paying their taxes, paying their bills. They're going to rely on them to pay their bills, to pay for their college tuition. That's where it's heading. That's what they want. But I mean, when you put things on pause, I mean, somebody still has to pay something, right? I mean, the debt's not going away. There's interest on that debt that still has to be paid. And if you're not paying the debt, then somebody's not getting paid. So it's a very ugly situation where somebody borrows money, signs their name on the dotted line, shakes hands, and then decides to not pay. And that means that you made a deal and now somebody's not getting paid. So it's a real mess. But this whole thing is beginning to look like that there's a group of people who just decided not to go back to work, decided not to make their payments on whatever, and now have decided that maybe some other group should do it for them. Or there should just be a very, very long forbearance, maybe a permanent forbearance where people just don't have to pay back any debt. But again, there's no free lunches. Somebody has to pay it back. And it looks to me like it's going to be the taxpayer. But they can just continue these forbearance programs in housing and in student loan debt and keep extending, and pretending for a very, very long time. But again, somebody has to pay the bills. Somebody has to pay here, because if they're not, then somebody's not getting paid. And that's very, very bad for the system. The debt's not going away, ladies and gentlemen. They're just trying to put the debt on somebody else's back so they can extend here and pretend here while somebody like the taxpayer pays for all this. Look, it's a very, very ugly situation, but everything's fine because the stock market was up 560 points today. So if everything is so great, how come we see more problems with debt, that people cannot pay their debts back? Okay, millions and millions of jobs out there, yet people are not going to work. They're not dependent on making their own living. They're dependent on you paying their debt off, you paying their bills. And I think this is going to be a very, very ugly disaster for the future of this country, especially financially, and it's going to have severe social impact on this country also. What does it say to everybody else who had to work hard and pay off their debt, pay off their own car, pay off their own college tuition, pay off their own housing debt? But this group doesn't have to pay it back. They just get a forbearance for their college tuition debt, a forbearance on their house. And now they're getting $80,000 towards their house. I mean, where do we sign up, right? So I think it's a real slap in the face to the hardworking taxpayer of this country that goes out every day, works their butt off, pays their taxes, puts food on the table, and they're dealing and competing with this massive inflation where it is just taking so much food off their table. It's erasing their savings account. It's erasing their paycheck every week. And yet we have people who just said, you know what, I don't want to work. Just pay this debt off for me, or just extend these forbearances so that maybe I never have to pay it back. I think that's a terrible lesson for society. I think it's a slap in the face to the people who pay their debts off every day, who paid their own college tuition debt off, who've paid their own cars off, who've had to work 2 or 3 jobs, working a side hustle. People right now working side hustles to pay off their debts. What is this? What message does this send, especially to younger people? That maybe you can get away without paying off your debts while everybody else had to, while the taxpayer has to come in and clean up your mess. Look, there's 11 plus million jobs out there. Why in the world, if you have massive amounts of debt, why are you not out there taking on 2 or 3 of these jobs? Look, your college degree is probably worthless. It's probably going to be on the bottom of somebody's birdcage because the career choice that you decided and the $80, $90, $100,000 of tuition debt that you gained or gathered over the last 4 years or 5 years of going to college, probably while you were partying and running up credit card debt. Why in the world should we be on the hook for your mess? I think that's completely wrong. I think that it needs to come to an end. I think people need to be responsible for their own choices. People should be responsible for their own debt. And look, we're already paying so much in inflation and in taxes. How much more can the average American take on? Now we're going to pay off people's houses, maybe people's cars. We're going to pay off their college tuition. Give me a break. It's a complete mess. Let me know how you feel about this. Comment down below. God bless all of you. Look forward to talking with all of you very, very soon. So long.